Hey everyone, ever feel like your creativity is stuck in a rut? Like you're staring at a blank canvas or a blinking cursor, and absolutely nothing is coming to mind? We've all been there. It's frustrating, it's discouraging, and it can make you feel like you're just not creative enough. But what if I told you that the problem isn't a lack of creativity, but a lack of constraints? Stick with me, because I'm going to show you how limitations can actually be the key to unlocking your best ideas. Think about it. Complete freedom can be paralyzing. When you can do anything, where do you even start? It's like being in a massive supermarket, hungry but overwhelmed by the sheer volume of choices. You end up wandering around aimlessly, maybe grabbing something familiar, but ultimately not really satisfied. Creativity thrives on boundaries. It's like a garden. You need fences to keep the weeds out and to define the space where your flowers can grow. Those fences, those limitations, force you to think differently, to find solutions you wouldn't have considered otherwise. Let me give you an example. Years ago, I was working on a project that felt completely overwhelming. The brief was so open-ended, so vague, that I just couldn't get started. I had complete creative freedom, but it felt more like creative quicksand. I was drowning in possibilities. Then, almost by accident, I stumbled upon a constraint time. I only had a week to deliver a first draft. Suddenly, things became much clearer. I didn't have time to explore every single avenue. I had to focus, to prioritize, to make quick decisions. And you know what? That deadline, that limitation, forced me to come up with a much better solution than I would have if I had had unlimited time. It pushed me to be resourceful and efficient, and it sparked ideas I never knew I had. Another great example is poetry. Think about a haiku. Just 3 lines, 17 syllables. That's it, a tiny box. But within that tiny box, poets can create incredibly evocative and powerful images. The constraint forces them to be precise, to choose their words carefully, to make every syllable count. The limitation is what makes the haiku so effective. Imagine if a poet had to write an epic poem every time! Much harder. So, how can you apply this to your own life and work? How can you use constraints to unblock your creativity? Here are a few simple steps you can try. First, identify your existing constraints. What limitations are you already facing? Maybe it's a tight budget, a short deadline, limited resources, or specific skills you lack. Don't see these as obstacles, see them as opportunities. These are the boundaries that will force you to think outside the box. Second, if you don't have any constraints, create some. Seriously, if you're working on a project that feels too open-ended, impose some limitations on yourself. Give yourself a deadline. Restrict the tools you can use. Limit the number of revisions you can make. The more artificial constraints you add, the more you'll kick-start your brain. Third, embrace the challenge. Don't fight the constraints. Lean into them. See them as a puzzle to be solved. Ask yourself, how can I achieve my goal within these limitations? This is where the magic happens. This is where you start to discover innovative solutions and unexpected ideas. Think of it like this. If you have to get from point A to point B, and there's a giant wall in the way, you have to figure out how to go over it, under it, around it, or even through it. That's problem solving. That's creative thinking in action. Fourth, don't be afraid to experiment. Try different constraints and see what works best for you. Maybe you work well under pressure, or maybe you need a more structured environment. It's all about finding what sparks your creativity. It's like cooking. You try different ingredients, different spices, different techniques until you find the perfect recipe. And finally, Remember that constraints are not about making things harder. They're about making things clearer. They're about focusing your energy and attention on what really matters. They're about forcing you to be more resourceful, more inventive, and more creative. So next time you feel stuck, don't despair. Don't see it as a sign that you're not creative enough. Instead, look for the constraints, embrace the limitations, and watch as your creativity blossoms in unexpected ways. Go ahead, give it a try. You might just surprise yourself. If you found this helpful, consider subscribing for more tips to unlock your full potential.